Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Christina Williams, and this is the third class in Foundations 3. And so far you have learned that AW says aw, and you've learned about bossy R, where the vowel doesn't say anything and the R just says shh, vowel, let me make my sound, So AR, ER, IR, OR, and UR can all just say Now AR usually says R and OR usually says OR, but all the vowels can be bossed by an R, so that vowel plus an R only says Now I have a book to read to us today, and it has a bossy R. It has the, notice it's a short little word with a vowel at the end, so the E says its name. We call that an open vowel or an open syllable. The, which by the way, sometimes we're lazy with our speech and we say the, but if you remember THE says the or the. If you remember, if I cover that T, by the way, it says he. So THE says the. When we're lazy again, we say the. The, there's a bossy R. Now when you have an E at the end of the word, if it's a longer word, the E almost never makes a sound. Even if it's not doing magic, the E almost never makes a sound. It can change other letter sounds, but it usually doesn't make a sound on its own. So this is the the purple at. Ka-at? Wait, O says ah, A says ah, ka-at. There's a new rule. That's why we're here today. The rule goes like this. Now, first thing I want you to do is I want you to hold 2 fingers, and notice they kind of make the shape of a V for vowel. And the rule goes like this. When you have 2 vowels together, the first one says its name. Now, I'm going to do that 3 more times. And parents, if you're like me, when you were little, we heard when you have 2 vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. The problem with that is that most vowels talk. So we're gonna make it abundantly clear what that first vowel is going to say. So say it with me 3 times. When you have 2 vowels together, the first one says its name. When you have 2 vowels together, the first one says its name. Now I'm gonna say it just in a whisper. Kids, let me hear you say it. When you have 2 vowels together, the first one says its name. That's our motion, and that's our rule for today. Now, to make this rule make sense, first of all, you have to know what the vowels are. And we know Old MacDonald had some vowels, A-E-I-O-U, and on his farm he had short A. What sound do we make for A? Hold up the apple, ah. What sound do we make for E? Eh. What sound do we make for I? I. What sound do we make for O? Ah. And what sound do we make for U? But now with this class, we're learning that when you have 2 of these vowels together, the first one's going to say its name. So this is the book, The Purple Coat. And I can see here that we have an O and an A that says, where the O says O. So it's k-a-at, no, k-oat, yes. So in your kit, you should have something that looks like this. It's a really sophisticated, high technological piece. It's called a 2-vowel finder. It's really a sparkly pipe cleaner, but we're using our imaginations. So what we're gonna do is use the 2-vowel finder, and we're gonna stop when we see 2 vowels together. So I'm gonna go beep, beep, beep. Yep, there they are, O and A. So I have 2 vowels together. The first one is the letter O. That's gonna say its name. The A is not gonna say anything. So it's k-o-t, coat, the purple coat. I'll read the book. It's kind of long, but just sit back and enjoy. Every fall, when the leaves start melting into pretty purples and reds and those bright golden shades of pumpkin, Mama says, coat time, Gabrielle. And they ride 2 trains to Grandpa's tailor shop in the city. On the Silver Express from Meadowlawn to Pennsylvania Station, Gabby sits close to the window, her nose pressed to the smudge glass for nearly an hour. At Penn Station, they walk fast through long, dark passageways and underground tunnels. On a distant speaker, someone calls out, 34th Street, 34th Street. Change here for the Downtown Express, Uptown Express, and the Crosstown Shuttle. Mama follows arrows to the Broadway local, the noisiest subway of all, with its ancient rattly windows and wheels that hiss and screech so loud they have to cover their ears between stations. Grandpa's shop is on the 28th floor in a fancy office building that's even taller than that. The elevator is too fast and too crowded. This year, you ought to get gold buttons, Mama says. Big gold buttons on your navy blue coat. A lady in fur steps out on 24 and Gabby bends forward to pull her gray rag socks just past her knee. I think a purple coat would be much nicer, she answers. Purple? Mama laughs. What's funny about purple, demands Gabby, puffing out her lower lip. There's nothing funny about it, admits Mama, but navy blue coats are what you always get. Gabby makes a face. She sighs. She slips her left foot into and out of the fringe moccasin that slides off her heel when she walks. Do you hear the train? As I'm reading the story about a train ride, I hear a train in the background. So cool. God is good. Greetings. Grandpa hugs them both in two woolly arms. He wears the same green sweater as always, with its suede patched elbows and a line of leather buttons down the front. Grandpa calls it one of his treasures, a relic from the old days. Did we keep you waiting, Pop? Mama stands at the wall of windows with city views all around. Gabby moves toward the neat rows of fabric on the wall opposite. She drags red painted fingertips slowly across the rainbow of colors stacked in open shelves way up to the ceiling and down to the polished wood floor. Hello, purple, she whispers, pausing on the prettiest shade of all. Hungry, girls? There's fun in Grandpa's eyes. Magician style, he uncovers a platter of sandwiches from the corner deli. Mama laughs. Up to your old tricks again, Pop. She reaches for a fat sandwich, eats it fast, then rushes off to do her city shopping. Look in the windows. Do you see the city? Yeah, where I live, we don't see those kinds of things out our windows. When she's gone, Grandpa turns to Gabby. Salami or pastrami? Salami, she answers, the same as always. Did you remember pickles, Grandpa? I even ordered extras. They sit side by side on Grandpa's big oak desk with drawers from top to bottom. Everywhere are pencils and pens and little scraps of paper. Pink messages are tacked to a corkboard, and an important-looking calendar is marked up with appointments and phone numbers and skirt and shirt and coat numbers, too. Grandpa bites into a sandwich and makes a little sound, which means he likes it very much. Want a bite of the leanest pastrami in town, he asks. Gabby shakes her head. I'll stick to what I know I like, salami. Once in a while, it's good to try something new, he suggests. How else do you know if you like it? Next time, maybe. Now, business. Grandpa brushes the crumbs off his knees of his pants and points to a half dozen bolts of dark fabric. I've pulled all the navy blues, dark and lighter, nearly sapphire, smoky navy, hazy navy. I want purple, Gabby interrupts. Purple? But you always get a navy coat. This time, I want purple. When Grandpa frowns, his thick eyebrows meet to cover up that tiny scar above his nose. I suppose you asked your mother. Gabby looks at the toes of her moccasins. She said no purple coat, Grandpa guesses. Not exactly, Gabby says slowly. What she said was, navy blue coats are what I always get. Grandpa marches past the desk twice. Gabby marches behind. Purple, he murmurs. That bossy R word, by the way. And he seems to be talking to the air. A beautiful purple coat down to my ankles with purple buttons and a big pocket on the side. It must have a purple hood, she goes on, and a pleat in back to make it easy when I run. I'm a fast runner, Grandpa. He stops pacing and pours cream soda from a can. Bubbles rise quickly to the rim of 2 glasses. A navy coat is such a classic, Gabrielle. Once in a while, it's good to try something new, she answers. You said so yourself. Grandpa rubs a fist across that pointy part of his chin. He walks to the window with city views all around. Then he says, your mother wanted a tangerine-colored dress once when she was 6 or so. Tangerine, Gabby shrieks. Grandpa nods. Tangerine, tangerine. All she talked about was tangerine. Well, did you make her one? Did you, Grandpa? Finally, I did. I bet it was pretty too, almost as pretty as my purple coat could be. Suddenly, Grandpa clicks 2 fingers in the air. What do you suppose he did? Is that what you were thinking? I have an idea, he begins. Of course, one needs an exceptional tailor. Now, Grandpa is a tailor. His job is to make clothing. He sews. He's a tailor. You're an exceptional tailor. Grandpa stands a little bit taller. This year, I will make you something very special, he announces. A coat that is navy blue on one side and purple on the other. Reversible. Gabby jumps high in the air. When she lands, her socks are scrunched around her ankles. Let's make the purple side first. I hate the fitting, she complains a few minutes later. Grandpa's mouth is lined with pins. He measures her arms from shoulders to fingertips. He measures her legs from the heel up and her waist and across the top of her chest. When there is nothing left to measure, he kisses the tip of her nose. Gabby slides off the table, then leans on 2 elbows to inspect Grandpa's work. Will you make it long to my ankles? Not quite. Grandpa bends over the paper pattern he's cutting into the shape of a coat. Will there be a hood to keep me warm on extra cold days? If there's fabric left over, you will have a hood. Will it have a pleat in the back? To make it easy when you run, Grandpa nods. How about a purple lining? Gabrielle, Grandpa warns, don't push your luck. Mama comes back at 4. How's the navy coat coming along? She asks as our packages slip to the floor. Grandpa coughs a bit. Gabby twirls in front of the dusty mirror. Say, Pop, that is some gorgeous purple. Mama fingers those yards of fabric draped across the cutting board. Grandpa clears his throat. Gabby and I have decided on a different sort of coat this year. He says it quietly. Different how? Gabby twirls until she's dizzy. She wishes she could race the elevator 28 floors to the lobby. She'd find her way to the Broadway local hideout in those underground tunnels. It's reversible, she hears herself blurt out. Navy on one side and purple on the other. Pop! Gabrielle gets a navy blue coat, always, Mama adds firmly, with 2 rows of buttons and a half belt in back. You wanted a tangerine dress once when you were 6 or so. Mama leans back into the ancient wood chair with wheels on the bottom. She kicks off her pumps. Don't you remember? It had tangerine pockets and tangerine sleeves and that puff near the shoulders, Grandpa said, and tiny tangerine buttons and a frilly tangerine collar. Mama shakes her head. It was so unlike me to want a dress like that. Once in a while, it's good to try something new. A person gets tired of the same thing all the time, Gabby says, like salami or a navy blue coat. It's such a pretty shade of purple, Mama. Gorgeous. You said so yourself. Mama twists her mouth around. Remember tangerine? Grandpa points a finger to the air. Why do I feel outnumbered? Mama sighs. Then she smiles, but very slowly. I have a sneaky suspicion, she says at last. This is going to be the best purple coat ever. Gabby can't believe her ears. You know, there just may be a day or two when I don't feel like purple. She says it softly in her worried voice. There just may be, answers Mama. So on those days, Gabrielle, you can turn your sleeves inside out and flip your coat around to navy. And that is just what she decides to do. Now, this coat is one of my favorites. I love the story. I love learning about people who live in different places from where I live. And I actually have a son. His name is Taylor, and he's Taylor. Well, he designs clothing, close enough. Now, what I wanted to do next is I want to use this two vowel finder, that really sophisticated high-tech tool that we created, and we're going to decode some words that came from the story that I just read to you, the purple coat. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this 2-vowel finder, and when we get over 2 vowels that are side by side, remember the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, You have to. You absolutely have to know what the vowels are to apply the phonics rules that we're putting into play here. So I'm gonna find the two vowels that are together. The first one is gonna say its name. So this word is waist. Oh, remember Grandpa measured around Gabrielle's waist. Let's try the next one. All right, this one's a little shorter, so only two vowels together I see are right here. Let's make the sounds. E, O, E, O. Feel. Yeah, feel. All right, this one's a good one. I have two vowels together there. So I'm gonna make the sounds B, O, U, blue. Ah, remember when we had the magic E lesson, we said that a magic E can make a U say you, and sometimes it gets rid of the Y. Sometimes the U doesn't say exactly you, sometimes it just says oo, like two O's. So B, O, oo works here as well. So if U doesn't exactly say its name, just say it without the Y. Not you, but just oo. Blue. There we go. Now, of course, we know this one. We've seen it a time or two already. Here are two vowels together. The first one says its name, K, O, T. Are you saying it? Now I'm gonna hold this one up. You make the sounds. I'm gonna put my finger under where there are two vowels together, and then I'll point to the letters as we make the sounds we see. K, O, E, ers. K, O, ears. Clears. Clears, like when Grandpa clears his throat. All right, this one's from the trains. Let's see if we can do this one. Now, I see the two vowels are together right here. When you have two vowels together, the first one says its name, so that's gonna say E. Let's make the sounds. Sk, each, screech, screech. Remember the trains? They would screech in the underground tunnels. Now, there are some tricky ones in here too, and I put some ones that you're gonna take some extra care in decoding, but let's start with some simpler ones first. Here we have two vowels together. The first one's gonna say its name, so that says ears. Ears. Remember they had to cover their ears in the subway? Let's try this one. This is a really long word and it has a Y at the end, and like my name, Christy, Y's at the ends of longer words often say E. So let's try this. I see two vowels together right there. If I were using my two vowel finder, I could just set this down. It's harder when you're holding it up like this though. I suggest you put your words on the table or on the carpet and use a two vowel finder. So let's make the sounds. S, N, E, K, E. Sneaky. Remember when Mama said, I have a sneaky suspicion this is going to be the best purple coat ever? So I have lots and lots of words that we can use to find two vowels together. And here's the thing, I want to show you this. This will be a downloadable that you can absolutely use as you're working together on this subject. But you don't have to use these. I've got word cards that I'll show to you in a minute. But here's what I wanted to share. All of these words, all of them, come from the book I just read. When you learn this two vowels together and the first one says its name rule, your vocabulary, the words you have access to have multiplied greatly. And so this tool right here, this two vowels together. Now, I know a lot of people talk about vowel teams and they will teach like OA says O. Here's the thing, you only have to remember two vowels together, the first one says its name, and you've covered them all. So don't do word families where they all are doing the same spelling. Don't do that. Just keep it simple, one quick rule, and you'll access all of them. Now, I'm gonna set those aside, and the next thing we're gonna do is take this, it's a vowel tent. So we're gonna just take this paper and fold it in half like this, and you're gonna set it on the table or the carpet in front of you. And we're gonna use this to decode these words that are included in your kit. These are already cut and ready for you. Now, you're gonna use the two vowel finder again. You'll have to make it a little bit skinnier this time because these cards are smaller. So if I hold this up, these are not words from the story, but I had to come up with some other ones so we would have representation for each of the vowels in equal parts. So I'm looking at this word. I have two vowels together where the first one says its name. The first one is O. So if I make the sounds, it says O. Hoe, a garden tool, like a rake. Next to my rake, you could find the hoe. Now with this vowel tent, we will have to put the words vertically like this, and you're just going to keep going all through these word cards, putting words underneath the vowel that's saying its name. So here's one. I see the two vowels together right here, and it says ice, pies. Yeah, which vowel is saying its name? It's the I. So we're going to continue working through putting the word card under the vowel that's saying its name. So you should have something, if yours is on the carpet, this will work a lot better. For me on the table, I'm gonna just do another little fold. You'll see why. It'll make it stand up a little bit better. If you're at a table that's kind of slippery, you can do the same thing. I just folded the bottom down so it'll sit up tall. So now here's the I saying its name, the O saying its name, and your kids will continually decode and place them under the vowel tent. But let's make it a little bit more fun. What do you say? So what I have for your kids to do to make that sorting a little bit more interesting, we're gonna create another game board. Now I know you just did this with the Bossy R, but this one's fun. I have what are these called? Dab-a-dot, something like that. And what you're gonna do is just take these dots and again, place the dots all around the perimeter of your paper, and you'll continue making those dots, and those are gonna be the spaces on which you'll land. Now, just like the Bossy R, you have to earn the right to roll. So the first thing you're gonna do is draw a card, you decode it, you place it under the vowel that's making it sound or saying its name, and then you earn the right to roll and move yourself around your board. Now, here is the rule of the game, and it says when you have two vowels together, the first one says its name. We'll glue that right here so you can remember the rule. And as you make your way through, you'll decode the word, place it where it goes, and move around your game board. Now, when you have quite a few, and you can play this across a few days, it doesn't matter, you don't have to get them all done for sure. And I gave you so many word cards because there's so many rules or words that are spelled using this rule. So I gave you lots and lots of word cards. You can definitely do this across a number of days. But here's the thing, once you get a lot of words under the vowel tent, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like for you to take the whole stack of words that are underneath each one. Let's do this one. So here, these are O's, these are I's. I moved it. So I only have 3 word cards that were underneath the O, where the O said its name. Now here's what we're gonna do when we get a whole lot of word cards. Of course, I'm stopping early because you don't wanna watch me play this game. You wanna play it yourself. So all the ones that had O saying its name, I'm gonna look to see what were the 2 vowels together that made the O say its name. The first word I decoded was the word hoe. So the 2 letters together that made the O say its name, well, that's O-E. Now, another one was goes. What are the 2 vowels together? It's O-E again. I don't need to write it, I already have that one. Now look at this one. The 2 vowels together in this one were O and A. That's new. So I'm gonna place it right here under the O. So what I'm doing now is I'm using the 2 vowel finder vowel tent, and I'm saying which 2 vowels were together to make that vowel say its name. This is going to be a cheat sheet that we use when it comes time to spell words that have 2 vowels together. Right now, the only lesson you've learned so far that makes a vowel say its name is Magic E. And it's quite all right if the kids, when they're spelling, if they use a Magic E. Like if, let's say they were spelling the word boat. If they spelled the word boat, B-O-T-E, that phonetically it's correct. It's not, however, the way you would see it in a book, and it's not what we would say is spelled correctly, although anyone would know what the child was trying to say. So if a magic E isn't the way to make a vowel say its name, it's probably going to be the two vowels together rule. There are a couple others. They're coming. Remember, it's a systematic approach to teaching kids phonics. There are other ways for vowels to make their names, but this is the second most common. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep sorting. We're going to figure out the ways vowels say their names, which two vowels are together, and we're going to record that on the list. Then we'll have some time to practice spelling words, and you'll get to decide which vowel is telling which vowel to say its name. There's one more bit of practice before we finish, and remember when we had Magic E, we told that Magic E to jump back and tell a vowel to say its name. We're just going to show that same kind of arrow thing here. So let me show you. With Magic E, we said a Magic E jumps back and it tells the vowel one letter over to say its name. So this part of the word says plane. It's got a Magic E telling the A to say its name. But in front of the plane, I see two vowels together where the first one says its name. So just the way I did the arrows for the Magic E, I'm making an arrow for the two vowels together. We're just kind of drawing our two vowel finder to heighten our awareness of when we see two vowels together where the first one says its name. So your kids can go, I would say, just one strip at a time. Remember, the goal is not to get it finished as quickly as possible. The goal is to have spiraled practice so your kids keep coming back and remembering how to approach these words when you have two vowels together where the first one says its name. The last thing I have for you is a joke. What did one horse say to the other? Hey, hey. Get it? Like, hey, there's hay. But here's what you need to know. Y is often considered a vowel. You've probably heard it. You grew up saying the vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. Here's the deal. Y is a consonant when it says Y. Y acts like a vowel when it sounds like an I or an E. And so when we say hey, we're H-E-Y, like, hey, nice to see you. We're just simply going to make the sounds, the short sounds. When I say hey, the short sound is eh for E, and the Y says yeah. A, hey. All you do is make the sounds across this word hey. Now, in the word hay, like the thing that the horses eat, just use the two vowels together, and the first one says its name rule. So the A-Y makes the A say A. I used to talk about Fonzie, but nobody now knows Fonzie. I'm just old. Well, on that happy note, good luck to you. Have some fun with two vowels together where the first one says its name.